Thank you, Brother Ed, and welcome to Unity of Love and Understanding Sunday Gathering, our Circle of Love. And as always, let me begin with a prayer. So, if you would turn within with me, and let's touch that secret, sacred place of the Most High that dwells within us all. It is the presence, the power, and the love of God. We don't have to go to a mountaintop to find it. We don't have to go to a temple. Because right where we are, the wisdom, the love, the peace, the joy, the prosperity, the abundance, and all the qualities of God reside. Because as Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Everything that God is right here within each and every one of us. So it's from that place that we can bless each other, we can bless this service, we can bless this country and the world, and see peace reigning supreme. Thank you, Father. And so it is. Amen. So we have something special today. We have our own Lynn Fuqua, who's going to do a chant for us to start us off today. Lynn, there you
go. As usual, I have no idea what's about to happen right now, so I'm just going to sit here for a second and see what happens.
Thank you so much, Lynn. That was beautiful way to start. Well, I asked Lynn to do a chant today because I said this is a very deep topic that we're going to talk about today. And the topic is based on a book written by Dr. Howard Thurman. It's called Jesus and the Disinherited. And it's about who Jesus was really talking to and what he meant, what his teaching was really directed to. So let me start off with a reading from the book of Jesus and the Disinherited by Dr. Howard Thurman. Living in a climate of deep insecurity, Jesus, faced with so narrow a margin of civil guarantees, had to find some other basis upon which to establish a sense of well being. He knew that the goals of religion as he understood them would never be worked out within the then established order. Deep from within that order, he projected a dream, a logic of which would give all the needful security. There would be room for all, and no person would be a threat to their brother or sister. The kingdom of heaven is within you. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. It's a very interesting view that Dr. Thurman has taken of Jesus and his teaching, which is transformed into what we call Christianity today. I truly believe that Jesus of Nazareth would never understand the teachings that are being taught today because they weren't what he taught. Jesus taught a true equalizing description of what his charge was. His charge was to let us all know that you didn't have to go to a mountaintop, you didn't have to go to a temple, you didn't have to do anything to find God. Because God was nearer than breathing, closer than your hands and feet. Jesus was anointed to teach to the poor. Well, the Jews of that time, they were poor, most of them. There was one elite group called the Sadducees, and they not only were rich, but they were very dominant. But the majority of the people were just common, ordinary people who really didn't have a lot of money. They had very little. They worked the land, they were carpenters, they just did things that common people would do to earn a living. Except they were living in an area where they were being controlled by the Roman Empire. They were a minority in a very subversive majority. Now, they weren't always that way, because if you take a look back, there was great empires of the Hebrews and the Jewish faith, and their whole people were very powerful people. King David and Solomon, and you can go back and back and back and see these great empires. But that's not what was happening during Jesus' time. They were the minority. And as the minority, they were being oppressed. They had no say in anything. Unless you were a Roman citizen, you didn't fall under Roman law. That means anyone could do anything to you at any time, in particular the Romans. Very interesting way to live. Jesus, during that time, wanted to bring God, wanted to bring the Jewish religion to the masses, not to the elite. The elite didn't need that. He wanted to bring God to everyday people. He wanted people to understand that God was their Father, not something out there. There was something deep within them. That's what he tried to teach. And unfortunately, along the way, things changed. Because from the time of Paul, who was a Roman citizen, he didn't understand the plight of the poor. He was a deeply spiritual guy when he was struck down, but he really didn't understand. He was one of the elitists there. He didn't see it from the poor's sense. He saw it from an elitist sense. And Christianity to this day has been more of an elitist religion. And what do I mean by that? Well, Christianity was spread by going to different countries to try to convert them because they didn't know any better. And we were trying to save them. That means that we know better and we're superior to you. So we have to come to you to save you. All around the world. They did this everywhere. The Portuguese, the Spanish, everyone, the Romans, it was done all over the world. A superiority trying to help those who were inferior. One of the precepts of the Catholic Church and Christianity is to help the poor. That means we're the better ones and we have to help you. Jesus really never taught that. His whole idea was that we're all equal, that there is no one greater than anyone else. Even when he was being judged by Pilate, he said to him, listen, you have no power over me except what the Father gives you as power. You have no other power over me. It's pretty powerful. It's a pretty powerful idea that, Howard Thurman is an amazing mystical man. I love Howard Thurman's writing. I love it. He was raised by his grandmother in Florida. And his grandmother was a freed slave. His grandmother never learned to read because she wasn't allowed to learn to read. That was one of the issues with slavery, was that you didn't want slaves to be too knowledgeable. Because what they would do is have the masters would come in and they would bring preachers in to preach the Bible to them. And it was always the epistles of St. Paul. Because many of the epistles of St. Paul were that elitist piece talking to the slaves saying, listen to your masters and hear to your masters. His grandmother used to have him read the Bible, but made sure that he would never read any of Paul's epistles, because those are the ones that rang in her mind when she was being told that she was a slave and that she needed to listen to her master. She read all of the others, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, who spoke more of the words that Jesus spoke, about how you and I are brothers and sisters. God is our Father. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Not somebody else's Father. It's ours. And he was very sure to try to bring it into this fold of everything that you are is created by the divine. You are a spiritual entity having a physical experience. You are as great as the emperor is sitting on his throne. There is no one who is better than you. That is a message of justice and equality. And that certainly isn't what the Christians were preaching at that point. When you go back to the days of slavery, the ones who actually ran the slave boats were the Christians. There was even a slave boat called Jesus. I'd say it's a far throw from what Jesus actually taught. Dr. Thurman, in this book called Jesus and the Disinherited, wanted to direct people's attention to the true teaching of Jesus and how it related to African Americans at that time. This book is a book that Dr. Martin Luther King took with him everywhere he went. He read it over and over and over again. Let me read that one little piece here that you might find very interesting when you think of Dr. Martin Luther King. Deep from within that order, he projected a dream, a logic of which would give all the needful security that there would be room for all and no person would be a threat to their brother or sister. Doesn't that sound familiar? I have a dream. Dr. Thurman was Dr. Martin Luther King's spiritual advisor. He was the one who introduced him to Gandhi, who taught him his way of nonviolence. This book begins with understanding what the real teaching of Jesus was, that it was to the common people, not to the elite, not to the superior down to the inferior, that the teaching was equal for all. And because we were equal to all, there was no one race or one people who was better than another. Jesus talked a lot in parables and about stories of different things. And one of the ones that always touched me was the story of the Good Samaritan. This was people from Samaria who were actually hated by the Jews. And a Samaritan was the only person who stopped to help someone who had been attacked and robbed and made sure that he took care of him like he would do his own brother. Jesus was trying to tell us something. Open your ears to hear. If you have ears, hear. Those who have eyes, see. It doesn't matter who or what or where you came from. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, the language you speak. The only thing that matters is that the spark of the divine is within you. It's the same spark of divine that's within me. And that's our connection. That's what makes us brothers and sisters. That is a bond that can never be broken. However, there are so many that want to, because they want to be superior than everybody else. They want to control. It's still that way in the United States. You know, the disinherited hasn't been eradicated. It's simply transmuted. It's just something just as despicable, but it's more acceptable. The reality is none of that's acceptable. The reality is that until we understand that we are spiritual beings first, that are absolutely connected by that divine spark, before we're in that physical realm, that the physical is almost irrespective. It's the spark of the divine, it's the spiritual aspect of who you are that draws to you all the things that you need physically, whether it's health, prosperity, joy, relationship, whatever it is, it's understanding and connecting with that divine spark within you that changes your life. That's what we teach. That's why going back to the beginning is going back to what was really taught. Jesus taught that spark, not all the other stuff that people put on top of it. People call it dogma, they call it other things too. All our interpretation of the words. It's a lot like having a line of 10 or 15 people and whispering in the first person's ear a statement. By the time you get to the end of that line, it is a very different statement. It's laughable. It's laughable. But this is not laughable. This is the challenge that we have, is that what we call Christianity today has morphed into something that's laughable. We got to go back to the beginning. In the beginning, God. In the beginning, one power, one presence, one life. In the beginning, we are all part of it. And there's no exceptions to that. Not because someone has more money, someone has more education, someone has better skin tone, someone speaks a better language. No. There is no exceptions to the fact that we are all one. And when we become clear about that, everything in our life and the life of all those who we come in contact transforms. Because what we're seeing is truth. We're seeing through the eyes of God. The only power in this world, the only real power, is the power and the energy of love. That's seen through the eyes of God. God created everything and called it all good. That's seen through the eyes of God. Even in the hardest of times, even with the challenges that we face, seeing them for what they are, learning experiences on this road of life. And that your life, that spark that's within you, who makes you unique, never dies. It was never born and shall never die. And when you know that, then you don't fear what happens next. You live your life fully and completely, with, through, and as love. That's the message of Jesus. You see, up until Jesus, there was the law. There was Moses, the law of Moses, and the law. And that was trying to let people wake up to know that they could and couldn't do certain things, and it was bad to kill somebody, and it was terrible to lie and to cheat and all that stuff. When Jesus came, he said, I'm not here to destroy that. I'm here to raise it up because I want you to see it from a higher level now. If you're living with and through and as love, you don't have to worry about that stuff because you would never do it. You couldn't do it. It couldn't be part of your thoughts. This is the real teaching of Jesus. Love. Love God. What does that mean? Love everything that God created, the heavens, the earth. Respect nature, respect everything around you. And love your neighbors, you would love yourself. It's all about love. Because that's the energy of transformation. That's the energy of the divine. That's the energy of connection. That's the energy of peace and harmony and joy. That's the energy of you when you want to use it. Your choice. I choose the teaching of Jesus, the real, original teaching of Jesus. I love everyone, even those who don't love me, because they give me an opportunity to stretch my own self, to be a better person, and to truly know that all is in divine order no matter what's happening in my life. And I know that truth for you too. So let's get still for a moment. Let's absolutely know that the energy of love that has created this universe and continues to expand throughout it is the basis of who and what we really are. There is so much that we don't understand about the universe that we're learning right now, about the elements and things that, seem to be so mysterious. They're not really. Because with love, it's all real. With love, anything is possible. With love, your life and the life of God are absolutely one life. And you see it. It's not that it would ever change. It's that you, to this point, you may not see it that way. All we're doing here is allowing you the opportunity to see things clearly. To see your life in a manner that was meant to be. And there are times that some of us don't see that. Some of us have appeared to wasted this lifetime away. But just remember, there's never a waste, because we were never born and we shall never die. They're given. They've hit a reset button and they're starting anew. It happens all the time. It happens every day. We close one door and we open the next. But the more we can see with the eyes of love, the more we'll lift all others up with us. And as I am raised, I raise others with me. Thank you, Father. And so it is. Amen. Brother Ed, I know you got something for us today.
Thank you for that talk, and I want to take just a moment here to create a bridge from that essence of that talk to the meaning of this song, which is the very heart of what the talk is bringing us and what Jesus had to teach us. And before there was Christianity, before there was a religion, there was the teachings of Jesus and what he believed, and it was all, as Reverend James says, very simple, very pure. and all-inclusive. And if Jesus were talking to us today, he'd probably say, you don't actually need a religion to know the truth. You just need to know that you are the spark of the divine, that this truth is within us all, that there is a power greater than you, and most importantly, it's not separate from you. And as soon as we start thinking in terms of separation, the elitists and the poor, or you and me, or us and them, we get caught up in the illusion of separation, and there is only one. And it doesn't matter what you call it, he would say, because as long as you feel it and express it and demonstrate it, then you remember that we are all part of the oneness. I was looking for an answer, trying to find where I belong. It's the story of the hidden treasure that was right here all along. I had a dream I was forsaken, outside love's open door. Now I wake to find I am the love that I've been searching for. It will always show when I open up my heart. It seems to come and go, but it's been here from the start. I have slipped and I have fallen. I've been left out on my own. Somehow love keeps calling. Somehow I keep coming home. In this dream of separation, every heart still beats as one. There's a pattern that connects us. There's a reason we have come, and the heart will keep returning to the thing that does not change. And in the end, only love remains, and it will always show. When I open up my heart, it seems to come and go, but it's been here from the start. I have slipped and I have fallen. I've been left out on my own. And somehow love keeps calling. Somehow I keep coming home. Through the hunger and the yearning, through the leaving and returning, there's a truth that I keep learning, a truth I've always known. Love keeps calling, love keeps calling me, love keeps calling me, love keeps calling, love keeps calling me, love keeps calling me, love keeps calling, love keeps calling me, love keeps calling me, love keeps calling,
Thank you, Brother Ed. That was beautiful. Well, this is our conscious sharing time. I'm going to put up the donation information. I need to update this because what we've done for some who were having problems with the going online and doing a secure donation, we're also adding a Venmo account. So if you, I'll add this on next week, but there's 2 ways right now of donating. You can go to our website and you can log in and make a secure donation that way. You'll also be able to do it doing Venmo if you'd like to do that. And lastly, you can just mail us a check if that's what you like to do. But whatever it is, whatever you do it with love. Allow love to bless the gift. Allow love to be at the forefront of your mind. Allow love to be what you're really giving. And then it has to return to you multiplied. So with me, please, let's just bless the gift and the giver. And just know that all is unfolding in our lives individually and collectively in the most magnificent and loving way, now and forever. Amen. I'm going to put up the prayer of protection. So let's read the prayer of protection by James Dillard Freeman together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well. Amen. Thank you, Brother Ed, for your music, for your insights, for the wonderful, wonderful song that you played. I just want to say, if you're watching us on YouTube, that we do this every Sunday. We begin at 10 minutes to 10. You go to that website, unityofloveingyou.org. There'll be a Zoom link. You press the link. You let into the room and you become part of our service. Because what happens after this, after I stop the recording, is that everyone who's on has an opportunity to share their insights. We learn from each other. We learn from others' experiences. That's how we learn and grow. And that's the purpose of why we come together, is to learn and to grow. And then we share what we know. So please join us any Sunday, 9:50 a.m. Pacific time. And we'd love to see you. And we'd love to hear what your insights are. So before I stop the recording, let's finish off with a prayer. Let's just know that love is at the forefront of our mind. That's how our thoughts are processed, how our words are processed, how our actions are processed, with, through, and as love. Because when we do that, it's not what we think, what we say, what we do. It has to be perfect. Because when it's done with love, it's always perfect. We let the ego get behind us and we step forward with love. Not just today, but every day. Thank you, Father. Thank you for making us aware. This is the way to live, now and forever. Amen. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to start our sharing time.